Today we are making snowball Christmas cookies. Some people call these Russian tea cakes. I call them snowballs because I'm from Michigan. The premise for this cookie is it's basically a shortbread cookie that has a lot of walnut flavoring in it. To do that, we're actually gonna use some walnut flour, which we're gonna make here real quick, and it actually comes out even better than traditional Russian tea cake cookies. To start, we're gonna powder the erythritol. Some of it's gonna be used in the batter and some of it's gonna be used to coat the snowballs at the end. We are gonna need half a cup. You can also buy pre-powdered erythritol, that's fine too. There it is. Now let's just set that aside for now. So here we have a food processor. You're gonna want 1 cup of walnuts, and then you're gonna need a half cup of coconut flour. So you're gonna need a little bit of extra coconut flour at the end too, just to add to get the consistency of the dough right, but put a half cup to start with in with the walnuts. And then let's also put half of the erythritol, so a 1/4 cup. This is gonna take about a minute to really get the walnuts fine enough to be able to form into a batter, a dough. That looks about perfect. Now to this, we're gonna add a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, about 50 drops of liquid stevia, and then here we have 1 stick of room temperature butter. And keep this bowl, we might need it later. And 1 egg to hold everything together. So we're gonna transfer it back into that bowl that we had the butter in. And this is where we're gonna do like the final calibrations to get the batter completely the right consistency. And just feel out the consistency here. See if you need to add more coconut flour. The coconut flour really thickens it up fast. You wanna be able to roll it into balls by hand. I say this needs a little bit more, probably like a tablespoon or 2. If you go too far with the coconut flour, it'll just be crumbly and you won't even be able to form balls. Now we got a baking sheet here. So just grab up a little dough. And if it's too sticky, you can always add a little bit more coconut flour. Roll this into a ball. So you want it to be able to hold pretty firm. This isn't holding firm enough. I'm gonna actually add a little bit more coconut flour. Make it a little bit smaller than you want the final size to be because they will expand just a tad bit in the oven. Okay, so we're done rolling out the snowballs. We're gonna pop these in the oven at 300 degrees for 30 minutes, but the cooking time pretty much depends on how big the balls you make are. Like the bigger they are, the longer it takes to cook. So for this size, one recipe makes about 12 to 15. You want them in there for 30 minutes. Snowballs are out of the oven and you can see they're just barely starting to brown on top a little bit. That's what you're looking for. Another thing worth noting with basically all keto desserts or baked goods is right when you take them out of the oven, they're not gonna be hard, but they harden as they cool. So these have been out for about 2 minutes. They're still a little soft. We're gonna let these sit for about another 3 minutes, but you wanna coat them in erythritol when they're still warm, so they kind of like pick up some of the erythritol, but they're not too soft to where they fall apart. So let's give this another few minutes, then we'll coat them. I need a credit card over here and a $100 bill. You want them to still be slightly warm. Just roll them in the powder. You can do 2 coats. Really, most of it sticks on the first coat, or you can also like serve them with a little extra dusting on top. But that's about as much erythritol as is gonna stick. These are the best. These are the ones I would always eat. And at my house, growing up, we would have no shortage of Christmas cookies. We literally had every Christmas like 12 different varieties. I think part of the reason we had 12 different varieties is because they taste delicious, but also so my mom could complain about how much work she put into all the cookies. And there you have it. We didn't even use the full half cup of erythritol either. You can incorporate a little bit more of that into the dough if you want it to be sweeter. So you can probably do like 3/8 of a cup in the dough and then just 1/8 of a cup for coating. But let's try one of these fresh ones. It tastes identical to an actual snowball cookie. There's no difference whatsoever. These might even be better. I think this is the closest we've ever gotten to actually replicating a non-keto food like pretty perfectly. And we actually are gonna have soon a post that is like a Christmas cookie roundup. All the cookie recipes we have, you can try making for Christmas. We probably have like 6 or 7 of them by now, so you can try any of those. That'll be linked. The recipe for these Russian tea cakes or snowball cookies is linked in the description below. It has all the ingredients, steps. Definitely make these. Comment below with what your favorite Christmas cookie is, because we'll work on that next, or we'll work on those for next year. You gotta get your own favorites off the list first, and this is definitely mine. Snowball cookies.